If you've ever prayed for something so urgent that waiting felt physically impossible, and then watched it happen, this message was made for you. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear isn't just a prayer. It's a declaration. And if you've never experienced that kind of answered urgency, stay anyway, because by the time this is over, your faith is going to be standing on different ground than it was when you pressed play. There's a spiritual principle that most people learn too late. Gratitude isn't what you do after the miracle. Gratitude is what seals it. It's the act of turning back around, looking heaven in the eye, and saying out loud, "I saw what you did, and I am not going to pretend it was a coincidence." That kind of gratitude doesn't just honor what already happened. It opens the door wide for everything that's still coming. It sends a signal to the spiritual atmosphere around you that says, "I am a person who notices. I am a person who remembers. And I am a person who can be trusted with more." Because here's the truth that gets missed in the middle of crisis: when we're desperate, we make promises. We say, "If this works out, I will never forget it. I will tell everyone. I will give God the glory publicly and without embarrassment." And then the crisis passes, and life fills back in, and slowly, quietly, the miracle gets absorbed into ordinary memory. It becomes just a thing that happened rather than the sacred turning point it actually was. Today, we are refusing that drift. Today, we are doing what we said we would do. And when we talk about urgency, when we talk about the moments in life where waiting wasn't an option, where the clock was running out and desperation had replaced hope, one name rises to the surface with a weight and a power that is simply undeniable. Saint Expeditus. The patron of urgent causes. The intercessor who answered before the echo of the prayer had even faded. Today, this is our public thank you. This is our testimony. This is the moment we stop letting the answered prayer live only in our private memory and bring it into the light where it was always meant to be. We come together right now as a community of living faith to send back to heaven the praise it is owed. Because somewhere in this community, someone's door opened when everything said it was bolted shut. Somewhere, a financial crisis that had no logical way out found a way out. A diagnosis that came with too many unknowns shifted in a direction that the doctors couldn't fully account for. A legal situation that was dragging into despair suddenly moved. A family relationship that looked broken beyond repair started healing in ways that surprised everyone who had watched it fall apart. And in each one of those moments, there was an unseen hand, steady, fast, faithful, reaching down into the mess and changing what only God can change. We are here today because we believe that. And we are here today because we've seen it. Saint Expeditus, you who refuse to let procrastination steal the urgency of the present moment, we receive your intercession today with full hearts. We remember the nights. We remember what it felt like to sit in the dark with a problem that had no visible solution, watching the hours pass, wondering if anything we prayed was reaching anywhere at all. We remember the weight of that kind of waiting, the particular exhaustion of carrying something too big to solve and too important to give up on. We remember the sleeplessness. We remember the conversations we had with God that felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling. And we remember the moment, the exact moment, when something shifted. When a door cracked open. When a phone rang with the news we needed. When peace settled in like a presence, quiet and absolute, and we knew. We knew we had been heard. We knew we had not been forgotten. That knowing is what we celebrate today. Not just the outcome, but the faithfulness behind it. There's something powerful about saying it out loud, in front of others, with no shame and no qualification. I was desperate, I called out, and I was not abandoned. That testimony carries a force that private gratitude simply cannot match. When faith is spoken into a community, it becomes fuel for everyone still waiting on their breakthrough. It becomes proof that what God did once, He will absolutely do again. And it becomes an anchor for the person watching this right now who is not yet on the other side of their situation but needs to know that the other side exists. The story of Saint Expeditus has always carried this fierce resistance to delay. Ancient accounts describe the temptation he faced, a voice, a crow, urging him to put off his conversion, to wait, to choose tomorrow. His response was immediate. He crushed that voice under the weight of a decisive, irreversible now. That's the spiritual energy his intercession carries. Not hesitation. Not let me check the calendar. An immediate, powerful, targeted response to genuine need. And today, we refuse to delay our gratitude the same way he refused to delay his devotion. This thank you is not being postponed. It's happening right now, in real time, because that's the standard he set and the standard this community is choosing to honor. There is something deeply countercultural about that kind of decisiveness. We live in a world that conditions us to defer, to hedge, to wait until we're more certain before we commit. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, not the memory of things already confirmed. Saint Expeditus modeled something that goes far beyond intercession. He modeled the posture of a soul that refuses to let the enemy of delay win. And when we thank him publicly, when we name out loud what his intercession produced in our lives, we are adopting that same posture. We are saying, we see what happened, we know where it came from, and we are not going to be quiet about it. Every debt that got paid, every body that got healed, every document that finally cleared, every court decision that landed in favor, every night of anxiety that gave way to a morning of peace, we lay all of it at the altar of gratitude today. We name it. We acknowledge it. We refuse to let it slip into the background of ordinary life as if it were normal, as if it were just the way things go. It wasn't ordinary. It was supernatural. And the people of Living Hope know the difference between coincidence and divine intervention because they have lived in the space between desperate prayer and sudden breakthrough, and they know what that space feels like when heaven moves. To every brother and sister in this community who is breathing a little easier today because something they begged God for finally came through, we are calling you into this moment of worship. Lift your voice, even if it's just in your heart right now. Let your gratitude go public. Because somewhere in this very channel, someone is watching this video in the middle of their crisis. Someone is pausing everything to listen because their situation has run out of time and they need to know that someone else came through it. Someone is bargaining with God in the dark and wondering whether any of this is real. Your testimony, even unspoken, even just the fact that you're here and you're grateful, is a message to them. It says, hold on. This same intercession that worked for me is available for you right now. And it is faster than you think. That's what public gratitude does. It doesn't just honor the past. It builds faith for the future. It becomes a bridge between the person who received the miracle and the person still praying for theirs. When the community of faith gathers to say thank you together, those words rise like incense. That's not just poetic language, it's a biblical image, rising into the presence of God, filling that throne room with the fragrance of children who trusted and were not disappointed. And that fragrance matters. It matters because heaven responds to the sound of a people who have not forgotten who brought them through. There's a reason gratitude is called a spiritual discipline in nearly every tradition of deep faith. It's not a feeling you wait to have. It's a posture you choose to take, even before the emotions catch up. Even when the circumstances haven't fully resolved. Even when the next challenge is already forming on the horizon. You choose to look at what God has already done and name it as good, name it as real, name it as evidence. And when you do, when you stand up in the middle of your real life and declare that God has been faithful, that the intercession was real, that the urgency was answered, something happens in the spiritual atmosphere around you. Doors that haven't opened yet begin to loosen. Situations that haven't moved yet begin to shift. Gratitude seeds the next miracle because it demonstrates to heaven that you are someone who can be trusted to handle blessing without forgetting the source. If you are part of the Living Hope family and this message is speaking to something you've carried, a prayer that was answered, a breakthrough you witnessed, a moment where the impossible became undeniable, we want to invite you to make it real right now. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of what God is doing in this community, and leave a word in the comments. It doesn't have to be long. Even just thank you or I received mine. Let us know that you've experienced the faithfulness we're celebrating today. Because this community grows stronger every single time one person decides to say out loud what God has done in their life. Your 2 words in the comments section can become someone else's reason to keep praying tonight. We close this prayer of gratitude with hearts that are genuinely too full for words to fully carry. We know this is not the end of the relationship, This is simply one chapter in a longer story of divine faithfulness that is still being written in our lives, still unfolding, still producing outcomes that we haven't fully seen yet but are already leaning into with expectation. May this testimony travel, through screens, through conversations, through the simple act of someone sharing this video with a friend who needs it, until it reaches the person who is sitting in their darkest hour right now and needs to hear that there is real, fast, powerful help available to them. May they find this community. May they find this intercession. May they find out what we already know, that urgency is not a barrier to answered prayer. It is an invitation. Saint Expeditus, for everything you have interceded for on our behalf, for the urgency you honored and the prayers you carried before the throne of grace, we bless your memory today. We honor the courage that you modeled and the decisiveness that your life embodied. We carry forward into our future not the weight of what we once desperately needed, but the lightness and the confidence of people who have been touched by something that cannot be explained away. The supernatural is real. The intercession is real. The community standing together in faith is real. And the gratitude we offer today is as real, as weighty, and as alive as every single miracle that made it necessary. Now and always. Amen.